Very, very rarely, Fox News can actually be one of my favorite places to get the news when they are put in the awkward position of having to acknowledge really negative polls for Donald Trump and the Republicans. And we have an example of that today. It involves Bret Baier having to broadcast news, including polls, that is almost certainly going to land him on the bad side of Donald Trump's radar. Take a look.
The issue of affordability, the issue of how people feel about the economy popping up in our latest polls, personal financial situation now, excellent, good, 40%, only fair or poor, 60%. You can see that changing from July. Condition of the US economy, also a perception totally upside down, 76 to 25, and that changing a bit. And then economic conditions for the nation and you personally, again, 25% positive, 76 negative for the nation, and then 60-40 personally.
So overall, that's not great news. Bret Baier didn't really seem excited to be reading that. Donald Trump is not gonna like receiving it. Some of that is a little bit positive in that, like for example, people rate the overall economic position of the country more negatively than they rate their own. That could be seen as good news maybe for the midterms, that maybe people will vote a little bit more selfishly rather than their overall evaluation of how the regime is doing. But both of those numbers are still negative. Let's be clear about that. And so that's the polling. We do actually have some hard data about the economy. You might think, didn't Trump kill that with BLS? Mostly, but we did get a little bit of economic data for September. It took a long time for this to come out because of the government shutdown. But evidently in September, the US economy added 119,000 jobs. Now that sounds good. There is a little bit of context there though. One, it's that the unemployment rate moved up despite adding those jobs, which is not great. And I can sort of begin to have a few theories as to why that is, but overall it's not good news either way. Economists had expected 50,000 jobs to be added and the unemployment rate to remain where it was. Instead, more jobs were added and there's more people on unemployment. So I don't necessarily understand that, but additional context, 119,000 jobs this September. Last September, we added 240,000 jobs, literally twice as much. So that's not great for Donald Trump either. It's better than some of the previous months, some of which had actually been negative. Now that's September, that's months ago. We're gonna have to see how October did, how November is doing, but it might well take some time considering the way that they have intentionally tried to slow down the release of this data. So we have other information. The report revised down jobs numbers for July from 79,000 jobs added to 72,000. That's a small change, but still not great. August moved from adding 22,000 to losing 4,000. And this is pretty bad. Your best month is still way worse than it was under Joe Biden. And a lot of the months are just genuinely far, far worse. Here's a visualization, by the way, going back to about midway through Joe Biden's presidency. You can see the jobs numbers there. And some months are better than others. But can you guess, based on looking at that, when Donald Trump became president? It's right before it tumbled off the edge of a cliff on the right-hand side. And look, that's not only because of Donald Trump, but I want everyone to remember, Donald Trump did not come in just sort of well, see how things go and everything. He came in saying, we're gonna cut taxes and I'm gonna do massive unprecedented tariffs. I don't want to put all of the economic performance on the president. I think that people go too far in that in a very biased fashion. But if you wanted to lay blame at the feet of a president, the president who does something completely unprecedented and bat-esque crazy like that, I think he earns more of the blame than most would have. And so that's the numbers we have right now. We're gonna have to see what happens for October. Again, it's gonna take a little while. It might be a month until we get that data, but overall it's not looking good. Or is it? Because Donald Trump posted this earlier today. According to most, one of the best opening 10 months for a president in US history. Thank you. Oh, hey, why did we cut off all the citations? Hey, he cited so many people in polls in that damn biased TDS producers here at TDR. Anyway, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. Did your granddaughter say that you were doing a good job? Is that what you're citing? I don't think you're hearing that from a lot of people. Anyway, with that said, let's turn now to attempts by Fox News to make things seem a little bit better for Donald Trump than they are in fact. Let's take a look.
I'm not going to tell the American people how to feel because I think Joe Biden made that mistake of saying, "Hey, it's transitory. You're not feeling it." But it has only been 9 months, and the bill, the big beautiful bill, has not. It was passed, but it's not been implemented just yet. There's still some time for that. So he's giving people, and then when it comes to some of the energy policy, all of that has not been implemented just yet. So I'm not saying hold on a little bit, but I am saying it's kind of unfair when someone has been in there 9 months to put it all on them.
I'm not saying hold on, except that's obviously what I'm doing. So what's the opposite of holding on? It's judging him, but you don't want us to do that. So you are telling us to hold on. Now, again, I don't think all of the economic stagnation that we've experienced, the continued rise in prices and everything, I don't think all of that is Donald Trump. But Donald Trump did tell us that he would solve it on day one. When you pitch yourself month after month after month on the campaign trail as he alone who can solve our economic woes and who will do it so much faster to make your head spin, well, then you don't get to say 9 months is still the honeymoon period. And I know that Lawrence Jones is just trying to keep his job and, I don't know, probably get a position on the cabinet or whatever. I mean, they're gonna need some more people. Where else are they gonna get it but Fox News? So I know that's what he's doing. He's not being honest here or serious or whatever. But it has been 9 months. 9 months is not nothing. 9 months is 3 times longer than what we historically consider to be the honeymoon period. And much more importantly, I want to remind everyone, it's not like the economy's doing really bad and then Donald Trump becomes president and for 9 months, things are the same. Oh, and we're wondering when are they gonna get back? That's not what's happening. It's getting worse over 9 months. He's like, he hasn't had enough time yet. Enough time to what? Continue the negative trend that we've experienced? And look, he would have you believe that we just need to give the big beautiful bill more time. If just showering the rich with trillions of dollars solved our economic woes, it would have done that the last time Donald Trump did it, or the times that George W. Bush did it, or the time that Ronald Reagan did it. It's never actually worked, Lawrence Jones, and we don't need just 9 months of evidence to come to that conclusion. We've got 4 decades of evidence. Start paying attention to at least some of it. So anyway, what they're accounting for right there is the poll that shows that Trump has a 34% approval on the economy, 58% disapproval. Those are really bad numbers. And he would have you believe that we cannot, in just November, judge a presidency. That's not fair. And that's also traditionally exactly what Fox News has done. We have this, our producers found this tweet. This is from November 13th, 2021. It is almost exactly the same amount of time into Joe Biden's term. And Jesse Waters says, Joe Biden is a horrible president. I've seen enough. On pace to be one of the worst presidents of all time. Well, maybe at that point, but the linear flow of time continues, and Donald Trump is doing much worse 9 months in than Joe Biden had been doing. And Joe Biden, by the way, had been in still the thick of a pandemic at that point. What's Donald Trump's excuse? He's too distracted by ballroom? So it's weird that Jesse Waters can be so judgmental 9 months into Joe Biden, but now Fox News is like, hey, everybody, let's not jump to conclusions or anything. That seems a little bit biased. And it wasn't just him. Tucker Carlson was saying the inflation was just due to Joe Biden at that point. Again, remember, stimulus checks went out under Joe Biden because of the pandemic. They also went out under Donald Trump. Every Republican pretends that that's not the case. They pretend that the stimulus was only Joe Biden. And it's weird that they don't remember that Donald Trump did it, since Donald Trump was claiming credit for sending those checks. Again, you can't put your name on a check and get the cred for it and then disown it later on. That's not actually how that works. But anyway, this is the biased sort of reporting that we've come to expect from Fox News. I guess I should not be surprised.